Well, Haolonggu is back at it again, fresh off their well-received Nasutoceratops and perhaps even more welcome Ouranosaurus. We now have a member from yet another clade, the ankylosaurid Tientsaurus. Now this was indeed a pleasant surprise. It seems like forever since we've had a decent ankylosaur from any company. So a quick word on Tientsaurus, and as you'll see, a quick word is all I can get in. As you can guess, Tientsaurus means lizard from Tianzhen, a county in Shanxi, China. Unfortunately, the original paper by Pang and Cheng is next to useless for our purposes. First of all, the only pictures are of the holotype head. Very nice, detailed, and potentially promising. But when you continue reading, you'll find to your frustration, astonishment, and rage that even though the paper tantalizingly tells of a paratype with nearly complete postcranial remains, consisting of 8 cervicals, 13 dorsals, the sacral complex, both ilia, 23 caudals, pectoral and pelvic girdles, and to top it all off, variable shapes and sizes of scutes, and that all-important bony tail club, none of this is figured at all. In the description, they go into some detail on the axial skeleton and girdles, yet they couldn't even be bothered to describe the club. That would have been important, since different ankylosaurids have different tail club morphologies. So I'm flabbergasted, and what they were thinking to exclude all of this, I cannot imagine. So unfortunately, we're just looking at an ankylosaurid with a rather generic bow plan. This model is 15 centimeters or 5.9 inches. I don't know what a reliable estimate for Tientsaurus is. I've seen 4 meters, 13 feet online, but without references. The paper doesn't suggest one. It doesn't even deign to give us any postcranial measurements, so I couldn't even begin to guess. Haolonggu states 1:35, but if you take 4 meters, that puts this at 26.7, so it scales rather well with their recent Nasutoceratops. However, some researchers have synonymized Tientsaurus with another ankylosaurid, Saihania. Saihania has been estimated to be between 5 to 7 meters, 16.3 to 23 feet. And if you go with that, this model at 1:35 will fit into that range for a 5.3 meter or 17.3 feet long adult. So to give you 2 perspectives, here's the nearest I have to 1:26 in this 1:25 humanoid, then the 1:35. Now I wish I could say something more intelligent about Tientsaurus, but that's really about it. So let's just look at the model. As with all their previous offerings, Haolonggu offers 2 color variants. This time, however, both follow essentially the same pattern, with only color differences. Let's look at the green first. Now the main color is obviously green, reminding me of certain types of jade, yet the overall feel I get is a coppery patina. Starting at the head, which is the only thing figured in the original paper, it does have that characteristic isosceles triangular shape to it. But the squamosal horn is a little too large, extending too far forward, so that the posterior supraorbital capitulagulli aren't expressed. The skull seems a bit too short, and the rostrum terminates rather suddenly in a sharp fall-off, coming to a point, and so losing that rather expanded rostral end. Other than that though, I think you can see that the detail and the color, even in this small area, is highly commendable, especially given the size. The eye itself is a simple black dot, but to give you a perspective of the size, here's an almond next to it. I think for normal viewing distances, it's good enough for me. The armor itself has a similar arrangement to the Arbor and Mellon 2017 Ankylosaurus reconstruction, with the larger shield osteoderms spaced further apart and smaller ones filling in between. All of them are keeled. You see the cervical half rings, then the successive bands of osteoderms, I should say scutes, and the complexity they've infused into painting of the smaller scutes between. And as you can see, the detail is really good, with all the interlocking osteoderms and the consistent coloration. I like that the osteoderms, I keep saying, I should be saying scutes, look very organic and go together with the surrounding skin, which is a point I've made before, that these scutes are often given completely different colors from the surrounding skin. We can follow this all the way down to the tail, then the distal handle, then the business end of the club. Since the paper didn't gift us with an image of the tail club, I have no idea how it looked like. There is some flexibility in the tail as it curves upwards here, though the distal half or so is correctly stiff where the ossified handle would be. The color scheme in the area follows the rest of the animal both in the scutes, the mottling, and then the underside. A suggestion of heavy weight is conveyed very nicely, borne through these very thick limbs. There is quite good musculature throughout. The paper didn't see fit to describe the digits or even how many they were, but if we assume a more derived ankylosaurid with 3 toes and 5 fingers, this model has it correct. There are also these interesting 4-limb osteoderms, sometimes reconstructed with Binacosaurus, and certainly Borella pelta has evidence for it. I have to say overall that the general form and color is really pleasing. So much for the green. The yellow one is of course the same model, and unlike Haolonggu's Nasutoceratops and Ouranosaurus variants, here the pattern scheme is the same, only the coloration is different. Yellow is the main theme, but infused variously with analogous colors like oranges and browns. And I hope this doesn't turn you off, but there's a pineapple-y feel to the color scheme to me, at the very least a sunny, tropical one. And since nothing else is different really, it's just a matter of giving you a once-over of the model. Again, starting at the head, and down those cervical half rings, the main armor, really pleasing color accents. Down the tail, really liking the pattern here. And down that club. Really nice detail. You can see the detail here. This review wouldn't be complete without mentioning that researchers like Sullivan in 1999 and Upchurch and Barrett in 2000 proposed the synonymization of Tientsaurus and Saiharnia based on skull morphology. Both have the same isosceles triangle shape, and Pang and Teng themselves noted the similarities, but they also listed reasons why they were different. I won't bore you with the minutiae, but if you look at Saiharnia on the left and Tientsaurus on the right, there are some differences. For example, the narial area is even more vertically expanded in Saiharnia. The squamosal horns in terms of the shape, size, and position. The quadratojugal horn is more posterior in Tientsaurus. And scaling this, there are size differences. There's also a skeletal in the Carpenter et al. Paper redescribing Saiharnia. And as you can see, postcranially, our Tientsaurus looks different. In the original paper, Marianska described metacarpal 5 as shifted distinctly backwards, with center 2010 suggesting this meant a vertical semitube almost like in sauropods. And as you can see, we seem to get a hint of it here. For myself, except for the bluntness of the head, I'll consider it a 1:26 or 27 scale Tientsaurus, one of those mysterious dinosaurs for which large parts are missing. Although they're only missing in the paper. And finally, some comparisons. If you take the 1:27 scale, then here's the PNSO Miragaya. If you take this to be a 1:35 Saiharnia, here's the PNSO Ankylosauris. And the PNSO Sauropelta. And finally, between 1:26 and 1:35, we have the 1:30 PNSO Pinacosaurus. And come to think of it, PNSO is long overdue for an ankylosaur. Personally, I'm hoping for a Euoplocephalus or Edmontonia. And just for the heck of it, here are GR Toys' last two, the Nasutoceratops, the Ouranosaurus, and the whole gang together. So that's it for my Tientsaurus review. Haolonggu has really given us quite a good run, and each time their color variants both look good. The detail has been consistent across all three. It would be most interesting to see if they're going to maintain this rapid release schedule, the same way that PNSO did back in, I believe it was 21. I hear tell that Haolonggu are working hard to ensure better accuracy to known material for the future, and I think if they keep up their trajectory and their prices, they'll grow from strength to strength. Let me know which one you like, and I'll see you in the next video.